Welcome to the Sellernomics Podcast, sharing valuable tips and information in the Amazon and e-commerce space. Each week, we deliver the best interviews with some of the top Amazon personalities in the industry to help you grow your business. Today's episode is brought to you by Gatita, the global leader in FBA auditing and reimbursements. And now, here is your host, Rob Stanley.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Sellernomics Podcast. Got a really good one today. I've got Kevin King, and we're going to be talking about the $1 Billion Seller Summit. I was super enthused, and it was so much fun last year being on there. Let's get Kevin and, of course, my awesome co-host, Lisa Kinski on. One moment. Let's get him in here. There he is. How's it going, Kevin?
How's it going, Rob? How you doing, Lisa? Nice to see you, man.
Doing good.
Great to see you. So I want to just tell you, and of course, ask some questions. So last year, I got to attend for the first time ever the $1 Billion Seller Summit. Have to say it was probably one of the best I've ever been to. That's saying a lot because I think coming up next week is number 19 I'm going on this year alone on travel and going to these different events. And Kevin absolutely is a class act, one of the best shows I've ever been to. Kevin, why don't you give us just a little background first before I go more into asking you some questions on what brought about coming up with the whole $1 Billion Seller Summit idea?
Well, I have to say, if you're on 19, you got a little ways to catch me because in 2018, I did 35 events. Either as a speaker or as a guest in the Amazon space. So come on, Rob, you can do it. You still got you got 5 months left, 6 months left. You can do it. I want to see that record beat.
Oh man, I don't know, but I think right now I'm counting 25 might be the total by the end of the year. We'll see.
your wife is not going to recognize you anymore.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Well, Kevin, tell us a little bit about how you got $1 Billion Seller Summit going.
Yeah, sure. So it actually started back on it. I was friends with Manny and Guillermo at Helium 10 when they started Helium 10, and they came to me back in late 2016 and said, "Hey, we want to start a little mastermind group. We're going to call it Illuminati. And it's going to be like a weekly training." I think there was a couple other people that were doing something similar at the time. There was Fast Track by Ben Cummings and a couple others. And like, we want something similar to that. Do you want to be involved? And I said, sure. How much does it pay? And it's like nothing. We just want you to come in. I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. So we ended up making a deal where we formed that like a separate little kind of side company outside of Helium 10, and they use the Helium 10 audience to send traffic to that and to get people to sign up. And as part of that, we did an event, and we did our first one in Cancun back in 2017. I think it was May of 2017. And then we did another one in Kauai in January of 2018. And then things got so busy for those guys, they kind of just said, "Hey, we're focused on Helium 10. It's growing bonkers. We got to focus on growing that. We can't do these." And we're going to change the name of Illuminati to Helium 10 Elite, and it's going to be packaged as part of like a membership now. Instead of a separate thing you pay for, it's going to be like a higher level Helium 10 membership. We want you to run that. I said, all right, that's cool. I'll be happy to run that, but I still like doing these events. I know you guys don't have time for this really anymore, but I'd like to do them. So let's make a deal where I can do this myself on the side. So, and they said, we can do that, but we don't want you. Maybe we'll do events in the future, or we're gonna maybe sell Helium 10, and the buyers might want to do something. So we got to restrict this to like 50 people. So you can do an event, but it's got to be small for like 50 people. And so we worked that into a little agreement. That's now changed to 100 people. So it's 100 attendees plus the sponsors and speakers. So it gets up to about 150 people or so total once you add crew and helpers and all that kind of stuff in there. So it's a small, intimate event. But that's how it evolved. And when I started, I was like, I don't want, there's a lot of events out there that are $400 or $500, $600, $1,000, and some of those are great events. But I wanted to keep it more exclusive, and so I didn't want to have an event with 1,000 people, and I wanted to keep it high level. And because I know a lot of people in the space, because I speak at a lot of events, I attend a lot of events, I host the Helium 10 Elite. I know who's good speakers and who's not. There's a lot of fluff out there, and there's a lot of just people that speaking out the side of their mouth that really aren't doing what they say, what they're telling you to do. And so I was like, I want actionable people. I want like the best of the best people I know that are going to bring it. And so that's how it started. And I wasn't planning on having sponsors. I was just going to sell the event. It's going to be a high ticket, like $5,000 or so to come, because the Illuminati ones we were doing were $10,000. I was like, I don't think the market can handle that anymore, but $5,000 is a barrier to entry to it. A lot of people can't afford that. But the people that can afford that, they're doing 7, 8, 9 figures for the most part on Amazon. And then I had a couple of people approach me and said, "Hey, how we'd like to sponsor this?" I'm like, "No, I'm not doing sponsors." And then I said, "You know what? Wait a second. Maybe this is a way to actually make a little bit more money and cover some of the costs, because it's a very expensive event. This event cost me, well into the hundreds of thousands of dollars to put on. It's, people may think, shoot, Kevin's making a crap load of money off of this thing at that price, but my average price per person is into several thousand. My cost, once you average everything out, several $1,000s per person just to come. So when people say, "Yeah, I'm my buddy," or someone else is coming from the company, like, "Oh, what? No, they're not. You're gonna have to pay for that." So I said, "Well, I'll take sponsors." And Gatita was one of the first ones. I think I spoke at ASGTG in New York, and the guy, like, somehow we got connected. I got connected with it wasn't Rob. Rob wasn't there at that time. Yanni, it wasn't Yanni. It was the other fellow.
Max.
Max. Yeah,
Yep,
he reached out to me and said, "Hey, we'd like to sponsor." And I'm like, "Sure." He's like, "How much?" He's like, "I don't know. What's a fair amount?" And so we came up with an amount. That amount has since gone up because now the sponsorship a lot of people want to sponsor. I'm going to turn them away, but Gatita has been there since day one. The Gatita and Clear Ads were initial sponsors, and they've sponsored everyone since then. And Gatita's already signed up to sponsor next year. So I really appreciate all the support. Gatita is just amazing guys. If I know you're watching this, you probably already know who they are, but if you don't, you need to be using them and follow what they do, because really good guys.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. So, when was what year was the first $1 billion Seller Summit? What year was that?
It was 2019. We did it in May 2019 in Austin. And then we did another one, the second, that was in person. I think the total count at that one's about 65 people or so, including everything, speakers and everybody. It was a smaller one. It's the first one. People were like, I don't know. And, it's expensive to go. What's it going to be like? And then the second one we did in November of 2019. And that one we had about 90 people total. So the word got out that it was good. And then we planned another one for 2020, but the COVID hit. So nothing happened in 2020. And in 2021, I decided, I don't know when we're going to be able to do an in-person one again. So we did a virtual one in early March of 2021. And then another live one in September of 2021, then a virtual one earlier this year in February. And now this will be the 6th one. This is in person. So this will be the 4th in person. And so the way I do it now, I have a contract with Helium 10 because I do consulting work for Helium 10. I organize their Freedom Ticket and the Helium 10 Elite, and I host the AM/PM podcast now. And so I have a
congratulations on that.
I appreciate that. So I have a contract that restricts me to 2 events per year at 100 attendees max. And so that's basically where we're sitting right now.
Yeah. So I was lucky enough to be at the live one last year. Absolutely amazing. I'm going to give everybody kind of a perspective from coming in now, being that I haven't sold since 2018, but 20 years prior to that, I sold. I thought this was really cool. So I come in and I was asking Kevin actually questions about the event. I'm like, so, okay, who's coming in? What's it about? And he gets up there and he kind of gave everybody a kind of a high level of here's what's going to happen. So I'm going to kind of paraphrase it, and feel free to jump in there, Kevin, if I get something wrong. But every speaker that comes in there has to have unique content, has to be something with actionable content that somebody like a seller could walk away with. And it has to be something that hasn't been at any other events. So you can't talk about the same subject or reuse another presentation from before. And let me tell you, some of the things, and Kevin makes everybody agree that it has to stay in that room. Everything that's talked about, everything that's announced, tips that are given, stay in that room. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever, because so many amazing tips were given at the conference that I was just like, wow, I wish I knew that when I was selling. And then, of course, with me being all the events and talking to all the sellers, I was like, God, I'd love to tell them, but I'm not going to tell them because I promised Kevin I wouldn't. And all that information stays right in that room, gets shared within that room. Every seller I talked to was a very high-end seller. This is a chance for you to get in there, talk with, rub elbows with not only Kevin, but all these amazing speakers. Anthony Cofrancisco, Tim Jordan was there, Paul Barron's there. And I know there's more, and I'm sorry if I missed you guys. But if you want to go to an event that, if I'm not mistaken, 3-4 days long, and be able to just get one of those people that are on that speaker list and talk to them directly, ask them questions. There's plenty of time for that besides them getting up and sharing tips with you. It was just incredible, Kevin. Seriously. If I miss them, let me know.
Well, yeah, the main thing, I mean, we try to do this differently. You know, a lot of times you go to a conference and some people are shy and they just go and listen to the lectures and maybe go eat their lunch and go back to their room. You ain't doing that at this event. You're doing that at this event, don't come. You're the one of the most valuable things that I've always gotten when I go to events is actually not listening to the talks. It's actually sitting around the bar at lunch or at night, going out with the people that are there and shooting the shit with them. And that's where a lot of the, you know, having a cigar up on the balcony or something that we did one year with like 20 of us up there and just people are just spewing, you know, nuggets left and right, you know, and you're making connections, lifetime friends, business associates that when you have a problem, you can reach out to them and you're getting to know people on a personal level, not just, you know, as some lecture person. And so the talks are good and there's a lot of actionable stuff, just like you said, and I make them bring it. I bet every speaker and they have to send their presentation to me. There's a $5,000 cash prize for the best one. And I publish the list. So people vote at the end. Who was their favorite speaker? Who delivered the most content? And you're going to be freaking embarrassed if you suck, because I'm going to say, this is where you ranked. And so people, the speakers are like, some of them are intimidated by that. And some of them don't want to speak because they're afraid they can't bring it. I'm like, if you're not willing to compete and at a high level and deliver some actionable stuff, you shouldn't be on the stage. And so they're all bringing their A game and putting in stuff, like you said, that they haven't talked about anywhere else. Plus, then there's the networking. You know, the event this time we've added an extra day to it because people always said they love the networking. The first night people arrive, it's a cocktail party. The second day is talks pretty much all day. We provide lunch to everybody. Then the third day is a fun day. There's no talk. In the past, there was no talks. It's go out and have fun. You know, when you were there, we went out and we had some barbecue catered out at this paintball place. We went and threw
axe throwing. We did a lot of cool. Went to a speakeasy that night and did some cool stuff. And then the next day we go back and into the classroom, and then we have a VIP dinner, and that was it. And this year on that middle day, we're doing something really, really cool. There's going to be cash prizes for all the attendees there. They're going to be competing against each other, and something we're not announcing exactly what it is yet, but it's going to be pretty fun. And it's going to be it's cool. I mean, in the past we've done race cars at the F1 track. We've gone out to the vineyards and done wine tastings and whiskey tastings. But this one is it's going to be pretty cool. But one of the coolest things is the last day. So after we're done with everything, on the very last day, we're actually taking everybody out to the lake. There's a lake about 30 minutes away from downtown Austin, and we've rented 2 big party boats. And 2 of the speakers were DJs in their former life. Before they were Amazon sellers, they were actually club DJs. Danny from the UK and Leo from Canada, or he's originally from Italy. So they've got 2 boats, one guy on each boat. It's going to be DJ wars, and we're going to have contests between the 2 boats. We got catering coming out there, you know, some water toys. We got some really good food and drink coming, and it's going to be a fun day out on the lake with these 2 party boats and these guys, you know, trying to up each other on the DJ game. And then we've got one of the other attendees as a DJ too, so I think he's going to step in. So it's going to be a blast. So it's not just you know, sit and listen to people talk about how to rank on Amazon. It's also a lot of fun, a lot of networking. And I know Brandon Young is coming. He's trying to organize an event one night where he's going to throw his own little party one night and invite people over to that. So there's it's if you're a high level seller, you're doing 7, 8, 9 figures, this is the place you want to be. You're like you said, you're not gonna, if you're at that level, it's gonna add some zeros to your bottom line from the connections you make and the information that you get. And so hopefully you'll be able to join us. Yeah. I am looking forward to it. So we do have a quick shout out here from the boss, Yoni Mazur. So looking good, guys. Regards from the beach in New Jersey. So not to like make this public to everybody, but I'm going to anyways. So Yoni's wife is due here pretty quickly. So he is on a little hiatus
Awesome.
He's
Congratulations,
still
Yoni.
checking his emails like usual and tuning in. So that's awesome. So yeah, we miss you, Yoni, and I'm sure everything will be great. Yeah. So back to what you were talking about. Yeah, I had a great time. Let me tell you, I got to tell you a couple little stories, and then I'm going to ask Kevin some more questions, and I'm sure Lisa has something to throw in here too. So we're at the speakeasy. Kevin just said there was a whole day. We played, I think it was laser tag, barbecue, axe throwing. We get to the axe throwing, and there's drinks and snacks and stuff included. And all this is bussed on these buses with air conditioning, everything. And then we get back to the room, change, and we all meet at this amazing speakeasy that was absolutely incredible. And it hopefully my brain working right, I remember most of it. But I remember, I think it was at the speakeasy. So this is how cool this was. Kevin's handing out these drink tickets, right? So you get a couple drink tickets each to get some drinks going. And I would say it was getting a little towards the end of the night. Everybody kind of ate already, having a few cocktails. Everybody's just really enjoying themselves. And we're kind of out of drink tickets. And here comes Kevin. He's like, here, just put my credit card down, keep serving them, because everybody was having such a great time networking, such a great time speaking with everybody. And he just was like, let's not stop the party. Let's not stop the networking event. Let's just keep it going. And he just handled it. And it was so cool to just be around an event that Kevin just recognized there was great conversations going on. Everybody's having a great time, and let's just keep it going. Let's just keep it going. So I think we even extended it in another hour or something like that. So that was awesome to see and absolutely amazing. So there's some really cool speakers that were there last year. We got to mention some of the ones for this year. I can't remember all of them, but I'm going to try to get most of them. So I do see Isabella Hamilton's coming from Rank Bell, and Isabella will probably be talking about some cool other items besides just Amazon related items. So that could be pretty neat. Let's see. We got Anthony Cofrancisco just moved over to Data Dive. That'll be really cool to see what Anthony brings. Brandon Young's going to be there. I see Isabella Ritz is coming. Vanessa Hong is coming, which I just saw her last week in Miami area. Who else am I missing there, Kevin? I'm giving Kevin a minute to look them up.
you got Sean Hart is coming. You got Casey Goss.
I forgot. Casey won last year, if I'm not mistaken, was the winner last year.
Yeah, he's won twice. He won
twice.
Won the virtual and he won the in-person. We have 5 previous winners. We have a lot of new people coming that have not spoke on the stage, because I don't like to be the same old people you see everywhere. And so we have some new people, but we also have 5 previous winners that were voted the best. So it's almost like an all-star group. But we have Mari Luis coming from South Africa. We have Ben Weber. We have Jim Dew going to be talking about some amazing stuff. Probably a lot of you know that name. You're like, who the heck is Jim Dew? We have Leo. We have Danny McMillan, Travis Ziegler. It's an all-star group. And myself, I'll be speaking, and I'll be speaking on something that on ranking on the new way to rank on Amazon using NFTs. And a lot of people are like, what the heck are you talking about, Kevin? NFTs and ranking on Amazon? No, I don't get that. But I'm going to show you how to use NFTs to crush it on Amazon, absolutely dominate any category, period, by tying NFTs, which is Web3, to Web2. And I'm going to be showing you exactly, we're already doing it. And with one of our companies, we started in March, and we're about to, so I'm going to take you behind the hood, under the hood of exactly what we're doing, how that process is working. And it's going to be eye-opening to a lot of people. Wow. And then we have, there's a lot of top-notch. If you go to the website, $1BillionSellerSummit.com, the website, I don't do a fancy website. A lot of people, when they do an event, they spend a lot of money on some designer or some templates and make this fancy website. I don't do that. It's like a 1990s HTML page. It looks like something, from like before
hand coded.
It is. It's a piece of shit. But it's on purpose. Danny actually from Seller Sessions actually did a podcast on that one time. It's like, look, everybody does these fancy websites with all these graphics and all these speaker things and gets all the speakers to promote. I don't do that. You guys came to me and said, hey, we'd like to do this podcast. I didn't ask you to do this. I'm not begging you. I'm not sending you graphics.
Correct.
Here's some graphics with the Gatita. Can you please post this? I don't do that. If people want to do that, that's great. But I let it speak for itself. And I appreciate that you're doing this, and it's awesome. But I would never ask you to do this because you're a sponsor and you're there because you want to be there. And I want the event to speak for itself, and the word of mouth will cover it. So that's why there's no fancy website. That's why you don't see me pimping all the speakers everywhere. I will tease the content. You'll see me post, this is what's going to be talked about. But a lot of times I don't even put who the speaker's name is. At the last event, the virtual one, I didn't even announce the speakers. Nobody knew, unless you were a speaker, you didn't even know who was speaking at the event.
That's right.
And so
in fact, you didn't even announce it until I think like 15 minutes before they got on stage. I mean, they knew their time schedule, but we in the audience didn't even have a clue who was coming up next or when the next person was. So I do remember that. And Kevin's 100% right. We invited Kevin on here because I wanted to talk to Kevin about this. I was just blown away how great the event was last year. And plus, with Gatita being a sponsor, I wanted Kevin on to the podcast to talk about it. He definitely did not ask to be on here. I asked him, and of course he said yes. So we appreciate that. Kevin, give me a quick example, or it can even be a longer example. Somebody who came to the event or the virtual event, came back to another one of your events, and without maybe going into too much detail, just kind of told you about, hey, I took this particular thing and I was able to increase my sales. I'm sure you hear this probably more than once, but
there's one in particular that stands like Chris Lyle came to our very first event. And I think at that time he was doing he was a small seller. The events is aimed at 7, 8, 9-figure sellers, but there's sometimes some people are doing $500,000 a year will come in because they're on their way up, and they want some of the tactics. And he was around that 400,000 or 500,000 range when he came in 2019. Now I think he's doing he'll do 10 or 11 million this year. And he's been to every one of them. He's not able to make this upcoming one. It's the first one he's going to miss, and he's pissed. Last time his father was having the last one last September. His father was having surgery, and so had been scheduled for a couple months, and he needed to fly to be with his father for recovery. And he actually had his father, I think, change the date of the surgery so that he could come to the event. But he said the stuff that he's learned, the connections he's made there, is the reason he's doing what he's doing now. That's just one example. There's a lot of other people that have, if you take, there's a lot of information given, so you can't implement it all. If you try to do it all, it's too much. You got to pick and choose what's most applicable for your business and focus on 2, 3, 4 things. Even just the hack contest. Forget all the presentations. People often say the hack contest alone is way worth more than just the ticket, because everybody's sharing. So there's a hack contest that we do. It's $2,500 cash prize for the winner. And last time, I think we in September last year, we did it all in 50-cent coins. So the winner actually got like bags and bags of 50-cent coins. So he's like, so we make it kind of interesting. But that contest, almost everybody participates. There's a few people that don't, but everybody participates almost. And you submit your hacks, and when we pick the best that get presented on stage, and they get voted on as the winner. But there's a lot of really good stuff that just doesn't make it to the stage because of time. And so the only way to get all of them is to submit something yourself. So almost everybody participates in submit, and you can't just submit something that says like, log into Seller Central to see your sales figures or something. It's got to be like a real freaking, if you do this will trick Google into ranking you to number 1 or on Amazon or whatever. It's that kind of thing. And the only way to get them all is to participate. So just that PDF that goes out to everybody after the event, a lot of people say is gold worth the price and attendance alone.
Absolutely. And I think actually, so just so everybody understands the hack. So you break into groups, approximately anywhere from 6, 7 people in a group, maybe a few more. And you basically all start brainstorming. Then you elect somebody to go up there and kind of basically present. And they only have I think a minute or 2 to present because there's so many groups. And I think it was Travis Ziegler, if I'm not mistaken. His group, he was the presenting, but his group came up with the idea. And also, if I'm not mistaken, they ended up actually donating, I think, the money to a charity or something like that. I could be wrong on that, but Travis will be there again this year. I saw him on the list, and it was so cool. Some of the hacks, I was writing them down just because I was like, wow, that's a really good idea. Not that I was selling, but I was just like, man, I got to remember that if I ever start selling down the road again. So it was really cool. I didn't mean to cut out my co-host, Lisa. Lisa, I know you got some questions for Kevin. Go ahead.
Well, this is actually kind of my first exposure to the $1 Billion Seller Summit. So I really just had a question regarding kind of and you answered it already, right? You didn't even announce who all of your speakers were, and you still had an amazing turnout with the virtual. But my question was just going to be if you had any experience with people having webinar fatigue or virtual summit fatigue with everything having to go virtual in 2020. But it sounds like definitely not. I mean, you have such a niche and unique offering with the speakers that you're going to have the same kind of interest.
Yeah, well, I think that's a good point. When we did the event last September, it was one of the first live events. I think the Prosper happened in July, and there might have been a couple little ones. So there hadn't been a whole lot. So there was a lot of pent up demand. And then for the virtual one, which was back in March of this year, and then the one February of last year. So I did one during COVID. There was a high demand on that. But a lot of people were like, it's a virtual event. It's going to be like, just watching, you get these free ones all the time that people are using for lead magnets where they'll say free event. As long as you watch the 3 presentations each day, let's go over 5 days, watch the 3 presentations each day. It's free. But if you want the replays or if you miss something, you pay $97. So they make a little bit of money, and it's lead generation. And people are thinking it was going to be something like that. And the software that we use is a software out of Australia that's tries to mimic like a real live event. So there's chat rooms, there's breakout rooms, it's cool. It's not just watch a Zoom call or something. It's very interactive, and so people really like that. And so the second one we did did very, very well. It sold out. Actually, I had to turn people away that wanted to buy ticket. I think Dima actually messaged me, and he's like, "Hey, I got 2 people that are in my group that want to buy a ticket." This is like the day before, and I said, "I'm sorry, it's sold out." He's like, "Oh, come on, just help me out, man. We're friends, just help me out. They're good people." I said, "I'm sorry, it's sold out." It's like, it's not going to cost anything to turn this on. I'm like, it's digital air. I'm like, yeah, but it's sold out. It's sold out. I'm sorry. And so the demand is there, but I think right now there's a lot of events. There's a lot of stuff going out there. So like Rob said, he's been to 19 already this year, 25 on his list. I think there's too much. And so does that affect the $1 billion seller summit? We'll see. Right now the sales are really good. But I don't know, I don't know where we'll end up with this, because a lot of people buy the last 2 weeks, the last 2 or 3 weeks. So they make that decision. Okay, I do have some free time. I do want to get away. And so a lot of people are afraid to commit way in advance. So I don't know exactly where we'll end, but we'll have 120 to 150 total in there. So that's still good at this price point, because it is one of the most expensive ones out there. But I do think there's too much going on out there. There's too many people trying to do them. And I think a lot of people are not making any money on them, or they're probably losing. They're upside down. Probably the problem we're seeing right now in the space is there's a lot of people a lot of service providers that want to sponsor. They want to get their name out there. A lot of people that used to be sellers are now service providers, or people that sold out their Amazon business and now they've gone to the service provider side. So that balance, we saw it at Prosper back in March. A lot of people were complaining there that it was like 70% sponsors and 30% sellers. People were on and so that's a balancing act that for any event promoter, or it has got to, including myself, has got to balance. And there's a lot of sellers that, the guys that could afford this, they've sold their companies to Thrasio, to whoever. And so there's less and less of them that are out there that can afford this kind of event. So it does present a little bit of a challenge, but I think we're going to be fine.
I mean, I think so as well, definitely. We just were having a conversation with a partner the other day who was thinking about starting an event, and I think they threw out September as a date, and we were like, don't you dare do it in September, there's too much. And they're like, well, when should we do it? Should it be virtual? Should it be in person? I mean, it's you're right. It's a balancing act for sure. So can you tell us a little bit about the topics that the speakers are going to talk about at this one?
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Yeah, let me put on my glasses here. I can. Yeah, we've got. They're on the website $1BillionSellerSummit.com, but I don't have a. We got people talking about some algorithmic changes and how you need to apply those. We have people talking about gathering. One of them's how I'm getting 200 email leads per day, and I'm converting those into sales on Amazon without paying a lot of money. Got people talking about some really cool strategies on launching products and some of the creative process that you need to be thinking about there that most people are not thinking about. We got someone talking about, a lot of people in this space, they're making money either through their Amazon business or through investments, or they're about to sell out and they're like, I'm about to sell out for several $1 million. What should I do with that money? How can I protect myself and my family? We have someone that's going to be that deals with a lot of billionaires and it's going to be showing you the strategies that you need to know, for wealth generation, wealth protection, especially if you're at the level that a lot of these people are at, or you're about to be if you sell. We have, like I said, I'm talking about tying NFTs to Amazon. Isabella's also going to be talking about some of that. Isabella Hamilton, as well, as talking about what she's doing around that space. She's super stoked about where that's going for launches and stuff too. We have international expansion stuff. A lot of people are still just stuck selling in the U.S. or Canada, and they're just afraid to venture out. So we have someone who's going to show you how easy that can actually be, and some really cool strategies around that. A thing that last time when Rob was there at the beginning, I had people say, what's something that we're not covering that you would like us to cover? And a lot of people are saying scaling. I have problems with scaling and hiring people. As my company's growing, I'm going from working myself, and maybe it's my spouse or my buddy, and now I got 20, 30 people on the team, and how do you deal with that? And what do you do? And so we have someone that was an attendee for 2 of the events that's coming on that has an amazing track record of hiring. And if you just go look at their website, it's hilarious to look at the website and how they hire people and what they say and what they do. It's very, very original and very, very cool. He's going to be sharing exactly how they do that, and some of their SOPs and their processes for like zero turnover, and how they get the right attitude person into their company. And he had already bought a ticket to come to the event, for this be his third in-person one. And I said, hey, you gotta speak. He's like, all right. So someone else from his company is coming in his place, and then he's going to speak. We have people speaking on a lot of visual optimization strategies, a lot of test results they've been doing, and showing that. We have people showing step-by-step strategies on how to use Google traffic to without manipulating any kind of URLs, without kind of any gray black hat kind of stuff, to actually just rank to the top of Amazon. And actually how to actually do some stuff with Google Mail, where you can like snipe all your competition on Google Mail and actually target them. Some pretty cool stuff. I'm just looking here through what else we got. I mean, that's a pretty, someone else talking about some new stuff that's come out with the A9 algorithm, some of the tweaks that they've done on A9 that they've been studying as a data scientist. And he's going to be showing you, like, this is what you may not realize. These 3 things have changed. They're little subtle things, but if you do these 3 things, watch what happens to your ranks and your sales. And a lot of people are not talking about them and don't know about them. So it's a lot of content like that. It's a lot of really good stuff.
Wow. That's incredible. There's going to be some good ones there. Look, we're going to go ahead and wrap up, but first of all, a couple of things we're going to cover real quick. First of all, you got to go to billiondollarsellersummit.com. I'm going to put it up on the screen here. billiondollarsellersummit.com. Check out all the speakers. Take a look at, of course, the attendees that are the speakers and the topics. You gave some of the tops. I was just there looking, so I saw some of the topics. There's also a little schedule about what's going on each day. I'm torn on the DJ battle myself. Leo's a good friend. Danny's a good friend. Might lean a little towards Danny, even though I hung out with Leo in Mexico City, because he never mentioned that he was a DJ. But Danny's going to be DJing an event we're sponsoring in Australia coming up. So maybe I'm leaning a little that way for Danny there. But we'll see. Hopefully they can prove me wrong. A quick shout out, because I know Kevin doesn't always he's not big at always pushing the sponsor and everything. I'm going to say all the sponsors for Kevin. So thanks to Gatita, our company, Gatita, Clear Ads, Elevate Brands, ForceGet, Quiet Light, Global Wired, Helium 10, Ping Pong, Quartile, Riverbend Consulting, Sellers Funding, SellerX, Unicargo, Rank Bell, Amped, Z, and Feedvisor. Thank you, everybody, for sponsoring this on Kevin's behalf. Like I said, I love hanging out with Kevin. I love having a good time hanging out with them. And these are just amazing events. I always meet some of the most incredible sellers there. Great. By the way, everybody I just mentioned is partners with Gatita. So absolutely love all the partners that are there. And looking forward to an amazing event and some amazing content, Kevin. And thank you so much. If I missed something, feel free.
No, I think you got it. I really appreciate you doing this. And we have to get Lisa out there sometime too. You got to talk to Yanni and say, hey, you need Lisa to come out as well.
Yes, I will send this clip exactly to Yoni. Said, here, I have to go.
Absolutely. We're working on it. We're definitely expanding. The marketing team is growing quite a bit, and we're starting to hit all events. I'm probably by the end of this year going to have a little bit of fatigue on tending events, but there's no way I'm missing $1 Billion Seller Summit next year. So we'll
Awesome.
have to make sure I'm at that one. But and I'll have to maybe see about. I don't think Kevin accepts actually applying to be speakers. You have to be picked to be a speaker. So maybe I'll see if I can get Kevin a little info one time about my background in YouTube and how people can utilize that. And maybe we can work something out on that. So appreciate you coming on, Kevin. Thank you so much. Looking forward to $1 Billion Seller Summit. Again, everybody go over and check out $1BillionSellerSummit.com and be sure to sign up and come join us. It'll be a lot of fun. All right, Kevin. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Sellernomics Podcast. Special thanks to our sponsor, Gatita. Did you know that Amazon probably owes you money for FBA reimbursements? Get $400 in free FBA reimbursements at Gatita.com/Sellernomics. Be sure to join us again next week for more great tips on how to grow your business. And thanks again for listening.